Dormitory Chronicles. Introduction. Once a convent, now a dormitory, the building carries whispers of its haunted past. Beneath the gnarled balete trees, a swing creaks at night, as if moved by unseen hands. Witnesses speak of a nun swaying in the moonlight, her gaze both sorrowful and predatory. Others have seen a pale woman watching silently from the second-floor terrace, or a ghostly child perched at the gate, smiling with hollow eyes. Inside, residents report whispers, cold touches, and the feeling of being watched. Enter if you dare, because here, the spirits prefer not to be disturbed. Chapter 1. Gilly, The Foreboding Arrival, 2006. Gilly stood in front of the dormitory, gripping her luggage so tightly that her fingers ached. The building before her was both grand and menacing, its towering silhouette framed by the dim twilight. There was something unnatural about its presence, as if it had been ripped from another time and place and dropped into this unsuspecting world. A chill prickled at the back of her neck, though the evening air was warm. It felt as though the building was sizing her up, silently acknowledging her arrival. "Welcome to your new home," called out Father Pedro cheerily, breaking the oppressive silence. Gilly flinched, startled out of her thoughts. She had been so absorbed by the dormitory's eerie facade that she hadn't noticed the priest's approach. Exhaustion from the long journey from Pangasinan to Cabanatuan dulled her senses, and she managed only a weak nod in response. Father Pedro grabbed her luggage and guided her inside. The moment she stepped through the main door, an unexplainable heaviness fell over her. The air seemed colder, the shadows more pronounced. As they walked down the narrow, dimly lit hallway, her eyes caught a portrait of a nun hanging on the wall. The painting's eyes seemed alive, following her with an unsettling intensity. From outside the screen door, it could easily be mistaken for an actual figure, standing guard over the entrance. Gilly shuddered but said nothing. Her room was on the second floor, one of 5 nestled along the hallway. Father Pedro explained that 2 rooms were for employees, while the other 3 housed students from the school choir. Gilly's assigned room, number 2, was next to the prayer area, a detail that sent an inexplicable sense of unease creeping up her spine. The first week passed uneventfully, though her mind was plagued by the lingering strangeness of the place. It wasn't until the second week that the dread truly set in. Every morning at precisely 4 a.m., she was startled awake by a soft, rhythmic knock on her door. At first, she thought it was a dorm mate needing help, but each time she found nothing but the silence of the empty hallway. Yet the knocking continued, unrelenting and mocking. Then came the humming. It was faint at first, a melody so soft and sweet that she dismissed it as the choir members practicing early. But as the days passed, the tune became stranger, almost mournful, and it sent chills down her spine. It seemed to seep through the walls, carried by an invisible force. She tried to ignore it, convincing herself that it was nothing out of the ordinary. The final piece of the puzzle was the smell. Each morning, her room filled with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee, so strong and pervasive that it made her dizzy. She assumed it came from the canteen staff starting their day, but the scent lingered far longer than it should have, wrapping around her like a phantom presence. Relief washed over her when her dorm mates announced they were staying for the weekend. The last 2 weekends had been a nightmare, alone with the oppressive silence, waking to the unexplained sounds and shadows. At dinner that evening, they invited her to eat at the school canteen. It was there she met Inang, the canteen's oldest staff member. With a lively demeanor and a trove of stories, Inang captivated the group, her animated tales filling the room with laughter. Then, she began recounting the history of the dormitory. Inang explained how the nuns had lived there alongside students years ago. Every morning at 4 a.m., the nuns would knock on the students' doors to wake them for prayers. To avoid disturbing the campus too much, they would hum rather than sing, their melody floating eerily through the halls. Inang remembered this vividly. She could hear the haunting hum even from the canteen, which stood beside the dormitory. The nuns would later retreat to their own kitchen to drink their specially brewed coffee after prayers. As Inang spoke, Gilly's blood ran cold. The knocks, the humming, the scent, they were not mere coincidences. These were remnants of the nuns' rituals, continuing as if time had not touched them. That night, sleep was impossible. The story replayed in her mind, every detail embedding itself deeper into her fears. At exactly 4 a.m., she lay trembling, waiting for the inevitable. But no knock came. Instead, the humming started. It was louder now, resonating through her very bones. Frozen with terror, she clutched her blanket, the melody growing more distorted with every passing second. Summoning all her courage, she crept toward the door. Her breath caught as she opened it. The hallway was bathed in shadows, darker than the night itself. Moving within the gloom were shadowy figures, gliding in perfect unison. Their forms flickered like smoke caught in the wind, dissolving and reforming with every step. The humming intensified, drowning out all thought. Then she felt it, a cold hand brushing her arm. She spun around, her eyes searching wildly, but no one was there. Slamming the door shut, Gilly stumbled back, her chest heaving. The humming continued, filling the air with an inescapable presence. She understood now. She was part of their ritual, trapped in their endless cycle. The nuns had never truly left, and neither would she.